This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman with Aaron Mate.
Yeah, and we're still with Winona Howder in Washington, the Executive Director of Food and Water Watch. Winona, you've come out with a book called Foodopoly, The Battle Over the Future of Food and Farming in America. We're going to turn to that in a second, but first, your group is just putting out a report called Monsanto, a Corporate Profile. Lay out for us your findings.
Well, our findings are that Monsanto has so much power over the political process that it's basically buying public policy. That's why we've seen this terrible rider recently. It's why we have such a lax process for approving genetically engineered crops. And it goes back all the way to the 1980s when these crops were being developed. And Monsanto went into the Reagan administration and said, you know, we've been involved in a lot of litigation because Monsanto had been a producer of some of the most dangerous chemicals, PCBs, dioxin. They were involved in hundreds of lawsuits. So they didn't want a new law that would actually be a real review process for genetically engineered crops. They wanted to have a very lax set of bureaucratic hoops that they knew they could jump through and that their young startup competitors would not be able to jump through. And that's how we've ended up with this mishmash of different agencies involved in approving genetically engineered crops. It's why we don't really have a regulatory system that is doing the research that's looking at the long-term impacts that these crops have, not just in terms of health and safety, but the economic impacts because of the increasing price of seeds, the increasing use of the co-branded herbicides. Roundup Ready has doubled in use in the last few years. Now we're seeing new genetically engineered seeds created that have even more dangerous chemicals that are co-branded with them. And so we're really on a downward spiral with these types of crops. And genetically engineered crops are the underpinning of our dysfunctional food system. As Greg mentioned, they are the components of processed food.